First Contact Aftermath. The Valiant exploration fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. Their massive ships, resembling crystalline structures that caught and refracted starlight, moved with silent purpose toward the third planet. Commander Nistel stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Discovery, her 4 eyes fixed on the viewscreen as the blue-green world came into focus. "Scan complete, Commander," reported Science Officer Vex. "This is definitely the planet from the ancient archives. Designation: Earth. Former homeworld of species designation: Human. Extinct approximately 500,000 standard cycles ago." Nistel's secondary arms tapped a complex pattern on her command console. "The Ascendancy has searched for this system for generations. To think we finally found it." Her voice trailed off as she studied the world below. Earth had become something of a legend among spacefaring races. Humans had appeared suddenly in galactic history, expanded rapidly, fought ferociously, and then, just as suddenly, disappeared. The only traces left were ruins, artifacts of incredible engineering, and stories of their terrifying prowess in battle. Some species considered humans to be merely a cautionary myth. "Life signs?" Nistel asked. "Abundant plant and animal life, Commander. Oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere. Significant radiation in some regions, but well within tolerable parameters. No signs of advanced civilization or technology." Vex paused, antenna twitching. "But there's something strange about the readings." "Explain." "Energy signatures, faint but persistent, emanating from multiple locations across the planet. They don't match any known power source in our database." Nistel's mandibles clicked with interest. "Could they be natural phenomena?" "Unlikely, Commander. The patterns are too regular, too deliberate." The commander's decision was immediate. "Prepare a landing party. I want to see this legendary world with my own eyes." The shuttle descended through wispy clouds, breaking through to reveal a landscape both familiar and alien. Vast forests stretched across what had once been urban centers, mountains rose where none had existed before, and oceans had reclaimed coastal regions. 500,000 years had completely reshaped the face of Earth. As they approached their landing site, a relatively flat area near one of the energy signatures, Nistel felt a strange sensation, a pressure behind her eyes, a tingling along her exoskeleton. She glanced at the others, and saw they felt it too. "Some kind of radiation?" she asked. Vex shook his head. "No, Commander. I don't know what it is." The shuttle settled onto a grassy plain. Through the viewport, they could see the ruins of what must have been a massive structure, perhaps a city or a fortress, now reduced to geometric patterns partially buried in the ground. The landing party donned their environmental suits, though scans indicated the atmosphere was safe. Protocol was protocol, especially on a world as mysterious as this one. As the airlock cycled open, Nistel was the first to step onto Earth's soil. The gravity was slightly stronger than they were accustomed to, but their suits compensated automatically. The air, even filtered through their masks, smelled ancient and alive. Wind rustled through tall grasses and distant trees, carrying sounds of creatures that had evolved in the absence of human influence. "Spread out," Nistel ordered. "Standard exploration formation. Stay within visual range." They moved toward the ruins, recording everything. Vex's instruments detected stronger energy readings from beneath the surface, pulsing in a rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. "These structures," said Loren, their archaeologist, kneeling to examine a partially exposed wall. "The material is unlike anything I've encountered before. It appears to be some kind of molecular composite, yet it's resisted 500,000 years of weathering." Nistel placed her hand on the surface of the wall. Despite the insulation of her suit, she felt a vibration, a resonance that seemed to pass through her body. "Commander," one of the security team called out, pointing to the ground where they had been walking. Their footprints were glowing with a faint blue luminescence that spread like ripples in water. "Everyone, freeze," Naistel ordered. "Don't move." The glow intensified, spreading outward from their positions, running along the ground like veins of light, flowing toward the center of the ruins. The earth began to tremble beneath them. "Back to the shuttle," Naistel commanded. "Now." They retreated, but the phenomenon accelerated. The ground shook more violently, and sections of the ruins began to rise, soil and vegetation sliding away to reveal gleaming surfaces untouched by time. A massive structure was emerging from the earth, a tower of some kind, composed of the same indestructible material as the ruins, but pristine, as though it had been built yesterday. As it rose higher, panels slid open along its length, revealing intricate mechanisms that began to hum with power. "Commander, energy readings are off the scale," Vex shouted over the rumbling. "The entire area is becoming active." They reached the shuttle just as a pulse of energy erupted from the tower, washing over them like a wave. Their suits' systems flickered momentarily, and for an instant, Naistel thought she heard voices. Countless voices speaking in an unknown language all at once. Inside the shuttle, they watched in awe as more structures emerged across the landscape, rising from their long slumber beneath the earth. A network of light spread between them, forming a complex geometric pattern visible from above. "Get us back to the ship," Naistel ordered the pilot. Immediately. As the shuttle ascended, something locked onto them, not physically, but with a field of energy that made the ship's controls respond sluggishly. "Commander," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission." "From where?" "The fleet." "No, from the surface." "It's—" The officer hesitated. "It's in an unknown language, but the universal translator is attempting to process it." The shuttle speakers crackled, and then a voice emerged, synthetic but with an unmistakable emotional undertone. "Perimeter breach detected. Defense systems activated. Identifying non-human entities. Potential threat assessment in progress. Stand by." Silence fell over the crew. They exchanged glances of disbelief and growing concern. "The humans," Vex whispered. "Their defense systems are still active after all this time." The voice returned, louder now. "Attention unauthorized visitors. You have entered a restricted zone. Earth is under the protection of the Human Defense Network. Your presence has been logged. Prepare for scanning." Before they could react, a beam of blue-white light engulfed the shuttle. Every system went offline simultaneously, and they hung suspended in midair. "What's happening?" demanded Naistel. Vex stared at his dead instruments. "They're reading us, Commander. Learning everything about us. Our biology, technology, perhaps even our intentions." The scan lasted exactly 60 seconds. When it ended, the shuttle systems reactivated, but they remained held in place by an invisible force. The voice spoke again. "Scan complete. Species identified. Valian. No match found in approved registry. Historical database accessed. Warning. Your species has been identified as potentially hostile based on ancestral conflict records. You will be escorted to designated containment area for further evaluation." Naistel felt a chill run through her body. Ancestral conflict records. "But our species has never encountered humans." "Our ancestors might have," Lyran said quietly. "There are gaps in our historical records from the Great Collapse era." The shuttle began to move, pulled by the invisible force toward a massive structure that had fully emerged from the ground. A perfect hemisphere of gleaming material that split open like a flower to reveal a docking bay within. As they were drawn inexorably into the heart of humanity's ancient defense system, Naistel realized that the legends had been true. Humans might be gone, but they had not left their homeworld unprotected. They had created something that could outlast even their own extinction, something that was now waking up after centuries of dormancy. And they were caught right in the middle of it. "Send a message to the fleet," she ordered. "Tell them what's happening. And," she hesitated, "tell them to keep their distance. If this system reacted this way to a single shuttle, I don't want to imagine what it would do against a perceived invasion force." As the message was sent, the hemisphere closed around them, sealing them inside humanity's legacy. Lights activated in sequence, revealing a vast interior space filled with technology beyond anything in the Valian archives. And at the center stood what appeared to be a control station, with a holographic figure flickering to life above it. The figure took shape, bipedal, with 2 arms and a single head, wearing what might have been a uniform of some kind, a human or at least a representation of one. It looked directly at their shuttle with eyes that seemed too alive for a mere recording. "Welcome to Earth Defense Station Alpha," it announced. "I am Guardian Protocol I-7. You are the first visitors to Earth in 42,731 years. Please stand by for evaluation and processing." Nistel exchanged glances with her crew. They had come seeking answers about a long-dead species. Instead, they had awakened something that had been waiting patiently through the ages, something that still served masters who had vanished from the galaxy centuries ago. And now they would have to face whatever judgment these ancient guardians had in store for those who trespassed on humanity's abandoned cradle. Legacy of humanity. The Valian crew stood in a circular chamber deep within the Earth Defense Station Alpha. Their shuttle had been secured in a docking bay, and they had been escorted, firmly but without violence, to this room by hovering drones that moved with unsettling precision. Commander Nistel noticed that the architecture around them seemed designed for beings of human proportion, with adjustments made automatically as they passed through. The holographic human, Guardian I-7, floated before them, its form occasionally flickering with streams of data that ran through its translucent body. Its expression remained neutral as it studied the aliens. "Your species designation is Valian," it stated. According to historical records, the Valian consortium engaged in territorial disputes with human colonial outposts in the Orion Spur approximately 498,700 years ago. Casualties were reported on both sides. Nistel stepped forward. "We have no records of these conflicts. Our historical archives were damaged during the Great Collapse." "The Great Collapse," the AI repeated. "Your reference is to the gamma-ray burst that affected 12 star systems in your home region 472,000 years ago. This event resulted in the loss of 89% of your species' recorded history and necessitated your civilization's rebuilding." The Valians exchanged shocked glances. How could this ancient system know details about their past that even they had lost? "Your current civilization state is classified as Level 3B, interstellar with limited temporal spatial manipulation capabilities. Your ethical development is rated as progressive cooperative with hierarchical tendencies. These parameters place you within acceptable interaction guidelines." The AI's form expanded, and the chamber darkened. Suddenly, they were surrounded by a 3-dimensional star map showing the galaxy as it existed now, not 500,000 years ago. "Observe," said the AI, highlighting various points throughout the galaxy with pulsing blue light. "These are current human settlement zones." Nistel felt her 4 hearts racing. "That's impossible. Humans are extinct. They disappeared from the galaxy centuries ago." The AI's expression shifted slightly. Was that amusement? Correction. Humans departed from known space 496,320 years ago. This was not extinction, but strategic redeployment. The star map zoomed in on Earth, showing the planet as it had once been, covered with cities, orbital structures, and vast networks of transportation and energy. Earth was humanity's birthplace, but not their endpoint. When the Great Filter Crisis emerged, a decision was made. Earth would become a memorial and a sentinel, while humanity would evolve beyond their original limitations. "Great Filter Crisis?" asked Vex, unable to contain his scientific curiosity. "The theoretical barrier that prevents most intelligent species from achieving true galactic civilization status," the AI explained. Humanity determined that biological form and singular planetary dependence were incompatible with long-term survival. They chose to transcend. The holographic display shifted again, showing humans undergoing a transformation, their bodies merging with technology, their consciousnesses uploading into vast networks, some taking forms that barely resemble their original state. The beings you knew as humans now exist in multiple states. Digital consciousness, augmented biological, energy pattern entities, and forms beyond your current comprehension capacity. They inhabit regions of space that your species cannot yet perceive or access. Lyran, the archaeologist, stepped forward. If humans transcended, then why maintain these defense systems on Earth? Why protect an abandoned world? The A's expression became solemn. Earth serves three purposes. First, as the biological cradle of humanity, it is preserved as a monument to their origins. Second, it contains backup genetics of all Earth species, including baseline humans, should restoration ever become necessary. Third, it serves as an evaluation point for emerging intelligent species. Evaluation point? Nistel questioned, feeling suddenly uneasy. Correct. How a species interacts with Earth reveals much about their potential and their nature. Some come with reverence and curiosity. Others come seeking to plunder. Each is judged accordingly. The implication was clear. They were being tested. But for what purpose? Before Nistel could ask, alarms blared throughout the facility. The A's expression shifted instantly to alert status. Multiple vessels approaching Earth orbit. Energy signatures indicate weapons charging. Your fleet appears to be preparing for hostile action. Nistel felt her blood run cold. No, that's impossible. I ordered them to maintain distance. Incoming transmission from your fleet, the AI announced, and a voice filled the chamber. Admiral Kren, Nistel's superior. This is Admiral Kren of the Valian Exploration Fleet to Commander Nice telephone. Your distress signal was received. We are moving to extract you from the hostile environment. Stand by for tactical intervention. Nistel looked at the AI in panic. There's been a misunderstanding. We sent no distress signal. The AI's expression was now grave. Your communication was intercepted and altered. Analysis indicates a third party has interfered. A known entity that has attempted to access Earth's defenses 1,372 times in the past. They are using your fleet as a catalyst to trigger Earth's automated defense response. Can we stop this? Nistel pleaded. Can we contact my fleet? Communications are being jammed by the third party. However, there is an alternative. If you are willing, you can be temporarily integrated with Earth's defense network to establish a direct quantum link with your fleet. Integrated. What does that mean? Your consciousness will interface directly with the system, a method humans once used to communicate with their networks. It is invasive but not permanent. Nistel hesitated only briefly. Do it. The sensation was unlike anything Nistel had experienced. Her consciousness expanded beyond her body, flowing into the vast network that was Earth's defense system. She could feel the planet itself, every sensor, every weapon, every dormant facility waiting to be awakened. And she could see the truth. A third species, the Vrex, ancient enemies of humanity, had been manipulating events. They had been searching for Earth for centuries, hoping to salvage human technology that they could never develop themselves. They had followed the Valian fleet, waiting for them to find what the Vrex could not. With her mind connected to Earth's systems, Nistel reached out to her fleet, bypassing the jamming. She showed Admiral Kren what she had learned about humanity's transcendence, about the Vrex manipulation, about the test they were all unwittingly part of. And she felt something else stirring within the network, ancient consciousness fragments left behind by humans before their departure. Not fully sentient, but echoes of those who had once lived on this world. They spoke to her not in words but in impressions, showing her humanity's journey. Their struggles, their triumphs, their ultimate decision to evolve beyond their original form, rather than fight the wars that threatened to destroy them. The Vrex ships suddenly appeared from behind Mars, where they had been hiding. They launched an attack not on the Valian fleet but on Earth itself, targeting the defense stations with weapons designed to disable rather than destroy. They wanted the technology intact. Connected to Earth's defense network, Nestel felt the attack as if it were against her own body. Instinctively, she activated countermeasures, systems that had lain dormant for millennia roaring to life under her direction. From beneath the oceans, from within mountains, from Earth's very mantle, weapons of unimaginable power emerged, not to destroy, but to contain. The Vrex ships were enveloped in fields of warped spacetime, frozen in place, unable to advance or retreat. Admiral Kren, now understanding the situation, ordered the Valian fleet to take defensive positions around Earth, not against the planet, but in protection of it against the Vrex. As the immediate crisis stabilized, Nestel felt herself being gently withdrawn from the network, her consciousness returning to her physical form. She gasped as awareness of her body returned, feeling suddenly limited and small after experiencing the vastness of Earth's systems. The AI stood before her, but it had changed. It now appeared more solid, more present, its eyes reflecting something that seemed very much like respect. "You have passed the test, Commander Nestel," it said. "Few species would defend a world not their own. Fewer still would risk their own consciousness to prevent conflict." Nestel, still disoriented, looked up at the AI. "What happens now?" "Now, you receive the legacy." The chamber transformed around them, walls becoming transparent to reveal a vast repository, countless artifacts, data storage systems, and technologies preserved from humanity's time on Earth. Before their transcendence, humans created this archive, knowledge deemed appropriate for species that demonstrated cooperation, empathy, and the potential for peaceful coexistence. You are the first to be granted access in nearly 500,000 years. Vex stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. "All of this, for us. Not just for you," the AI corrected. "For all species who can demonstrate they have moved beyond the destructive patterns that nearly ended humanity. The Vrex will remain contained until they can be safely relocated. They are not yet ready." Admiral Kren's voice came through the communication system, now clear and direct. "Commander, the situation is secure. The Vrex vessels are immobilized. What are your orders?" Nestel looked at her crew, then at the AI, and finally at the repository of knowledge, a gift from a species that had chosen to evolve rather than dominate. "Tell the fleet to stand down from combat status," she replied, "and prepare for an extended research mission. We have much to learn here." As the Valian crew began to explore the repository under the AI's guidance, Nestel felt a profound sense of humility. They had come seeking traces of an extinct species, but had instead found the legacy of one that had transformed itself into something greater, not through conquest, but through transcendence. Earth was not a grave or an abandoned relic. It was a beacon, a test, and a gift to those who would follow in humanity's footsteps. And perhaps someday, when the Valians had proven themselves worthy, they might meet the beings that humans had become, somewhere among the stars that their ancestral forms had once gazed upon with wonder. The AI, as if reading her thoughts, spoke one final time. "They are watching, Commander. They always have been. And now, they are pleased. Above them, in dimensions just beyond normal perception, entities that had once called themselves human observed with satisfaction. Another species had found their cradle, faced their test, and begun their journey toward understanding. The legacy of humanity continued, not as conquerors of the galaxy, but as its gardeners, nurturing those who might one day join them in transcendence.